Hi everyone, and welcome to the latest in the series of COVID Combos, a set of chats with friends and colleagues across a wide range of sectors about how things have been for them during the lockdown and how they see us coming out of the other side now it's been eased a little bit. My guest for this episode is Richard Elliott. He's the man behind a hugely successful Twitter account, I'm Elmo, which posts content about Liverpool Football Club to more than 15,000 followers. So, Rick, how has a lad from deepest Lincolnshire ended up with such a big following on Twitter?
I guess it's the power of like viral content. I was essentially bored one Christmas. There was nothing on. It was just a load of awful sort of reruns and movies I'd already seen a few times, and Liverpool had obviously I support Liverpool, and they'd just beaten, I think it was Swansea City, and it was a good thumping as well. It was like Philippe Coutinho's last match. There was loads of hype around Virgil van Dijk signing, and so I essentially just sort of took all these emotions and stuff that was sort of going around on the online community, and I just sort of turned it into a funny throwaway video, sort of reviewing the match, and just like I said, with all these kind of cutaways to other developments and stuff. And I posted it on Reddit, on the Liverpool subreddit, and it got a fair, decent response. And someone that I know on there was like, "Hey, you should maybe post it on Twitter." And next thing you know, I post it on there, and it explodes. I had to, like, about a minute or so after posting the video initially, I had to mute all of the notifications on my phone, because it was just scrolling, like likes, following, and retweets, and my phone was heating up. It was that, like, when they say like my phone's about to blow up, it was like the battery was about to overload. So yeah, that's pretty much like how I got there, and just started like evolving that sort of video into a series. I suppose it was like already sort of like a meme format, but I sort of like took it and sort of molded it into my own thing, and yeah, that's sort of like kind of what I've become known for, really.
It's evolved massively for you, for say 15,000 followers across a couple of Twitter accounts, and it's become something that you now are able to expand and do professionally.
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of like used it as a platform to just like push my abilities in content creation, and make sure that everything was like kind of consistently released fairly short time after most matches, with decent results, and just sort of upping the bar. I then sort of like the main turning point was the Liverpool Barcelona match last season, that wonderful comeback, and the video. I mean, I already knew with a video, with a result like that, the video had to kind of match the overall sort of feeling online. And yeah, so I sort of there was one section like of that which people have sort of clipped from the overall video and released. It's a clip of The Simpsons, with Homer sort of bursting in on Bart, and then like cuts to a clip of the commentary from the match, and that clip alone has been retweeted, and other people uploading a download of that, and then people downloading that and re-uploading it themselves. It's been seen like by millions of people, just that one clip, and it's just like, wow, like, and that's kind of how people sort of really took notice. And I thought, well, first of all, I figured with all this sort of traffic, you might as well try and make something of it. So I sort of like pushed for like a charity drive, like mentioned like, if you really enjoyed this video, let's turn this into a good thing. Let's like donate to like these sort of charities that are close to my heart. And yeah, and then like kind of from those kind of things, I picked up the attention of the right people, and I was sort of offered a job off the back of that. They saw that it was funny, engaging content. People obviously were whipping it up, lapping it up. Sorry, and yeah, and from there I was sort of offered a job making video content for like a variety of like a network of footballing sites.
Moving on to the situation we're in now and lockdown, obviously it presents unique challenges to every kind of industry. But what is that like for a content creator, particularly one who relies on, making memes and shit posting essentially about football? How does that work?
So like right now, there's no movement at all. There's nothing really to sort of spark ideas because there's nothing going on. There was in the past, there was like always like, you could lean on results or a line from commentary or, something that kind of got the audience engaged, and you're like, okay, well, let's make a spin on that. How can I adapt? But because there's no movement besides, the occasional video that gets released by the club, and the occasional sort of like, James Milner cutting the grass with a pair of scissors. There's not really an awful lot there to spark ideas. So you've really got to sort of everything's at a standstill. So you've got to force the ideas out. And whether that's like sort of leaning back on things like, when will the football be back? Okay, let's like think about like how scenes from movies where people are constantly like people are bored, and like how can I spin that? Or you got to find trends and that are appearing online, and know when to run with them. Like if someone gives you an inch, you got to turn it into a mile, essentially. I've seen some of the journalists that I work with. They are, what would normally be the case is a story happens, you present it as is. Occasionally, if there's something more juicy out of it, you can dig a little deeper and present an alternative view on the situation. But usually the news cycle is that quick that they're already moving on to the next subject. And with this, it's like they're constantly trying to find new angles on the same story. And, there's just this, it's almost repetitiveness. Like the smallest story is like, okay, well, we've got to find a way to see what the fans' view on it is, the club's view on this is, the players, and then release a separate article on all of those different things rather than bulking them all into one package. So I've had to kind of take that same stance. And, there's the new Nike kit that Liverpool are changing kit maker to Nike or Nike. And those there's photos of these kits appearing online from these like Chinese sweatshops, essentially. And it's the kit that's like in a bag or like kind of fairly wrinkled, creased up, and then you've got those photos will appear in articles. But I'm like, okay, well, how can I take that news and spin that? So it's like, okay, well, what have I got access to? I don't have access to these kits in particular, so all right, well, why don't we just throw them into the PlayStation, put them into Pro Evolution Soccer and make a video from like the instant replay feature on that, showing how the kit would look in action. And the toilet roll challenge that all the players were doing. Well, okay, then let's sort of like combine them all, rank them, and like throw in a throwaway like the bogometer or something like that, and trying to put a funny spin on something that like everyone's doing. They're all pretty much the same. It's just a case of like who can keep it up the longest. So yeah, just like finding those new angles on the same thing that everyone's reporting on, and trying to find that unique thing that is going to drive viewers to your content, essentially.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about your about the process and the speed at which you have to react to certain things. Tell us a little bit about a little bit about your process. Once you've had an idea, and in normal circumstances, maybe not in lockdown, but in normal circumstances,
Yeah.
an idea. What are the how quickly do you turn it around? Is it something you've got to do straight away? Is it sometimes it's something of a slow burner, and you plan these things ahead? How does that work for you?
Well, I mean, most of the time, like, well, before when I was doing this as a hobby, I'd have time to sit and stew on ideas. I'd have an idea and I go, okay, let's play a few rounds of Call of Duty, and then afterwards, like, see if it's still funny afterwards. All right, we'll go with that idea. But now, when there are deadlines and you've got to be producing X amount of videos a day to make sure that there is something to go out every day. There's no choice. You've got to be coming up with ideas and just running with them. And sometimes they're not the best ideas. Sometimes they're actually quite good ideas and they go viral and people enjoy them. But you've just got to push through. There's times where there'll be a trend appearing and you've just got to jump on it as soon as possible. I mean, recently there was a meme trend where it was like Google Translate, and it's like roses are red, violets are blue, and then it would cut to a clip of something else that rhymes, and I saw that idea pop up on Twitter one morning. I was like, right, I know that is going to be the thing that everyone is going to be doing. So let's get on that now. Let's get it out quickly. It's a fairly straightforward idea to put together, to edit together, just a screen recording, throw it into the editing suite, and then done. So sometimes you've just got to have an eye for something that's going to go viral, a trend, and just jump on it when it's there. And sometimes I've had ideas where I've produced the finished article or concepted a piece, turned it around to others, and gone, what do you think of this? Should we release this? And the response has been, actually, it's a good idea, love it, but let's save it for, let's change the angle on it. Let's change it for, so I've had video ideas for the Bundesliga returns this weekend. And there's been some ideas that I've come out with, and it's been like, okay, well, that's really good. Maybe let's save it for the Premier League, because that's the one where that's what the audience is definitely going to be interested in. So let's save that and change it in whatever way it needs to be, and then we'll just get it queued up and ready to go for when the decision's made, and just publish straight away.
It's really interesting that you comment on the nature of content and how this lockdown has made everything. You really have to milk every single piece of content for all it's worth. And do you feel that when football comes back and we are out of lockdown, do you think this is going to permanently change the nature of the way we create and consume content? Do you think it's something that maybe will sort of revert back to the way it was before, and being much more instantaneous and then moving so quickly on to the next thing, as you mentioned?
I think, I mean, for me, I think the content I produce will be business as usual. I mean, my first day on this job was literally the last day of football. It was the Liverpool Atletico Madrid game, and then the next day they were like, right, that's no more games. Everything's kind of cancelled. So I haven't really had like a as usual on this job, but I can see it being, a return of inspiration, because there will be talking points, and those talking points will be, allow for like more creative opportunities. Really, the fact that they'll probably be playing with no crowds, they'll be piping in audio. I mean, the Manchester City jokes sort of write themselves, but those. I think for the most part, for the football industry, I think it will slowly. I mean, there'll be some things that have to sort of adapt. I mean, the rise of fan media over the last few years, where you have the likes of your Arsenal Fan TV and whatnot. Like, obviously, they won't be able to congregate outside the grounds to have these videos. So there will be like changes like that, where it's more of a at home. Basically, what we're seeing right now with a rise of Zoom like interviews and podcasts and stuff like that. I think there will be some of that for the foreseeable future, But then once all the restrictions are removed, I think it'll pretty much return to business as usual for the most part.
That's been a really fascinating insight into the content creation process and what you guys are going through. Thank you very much for your time, and best of luck.
Thank you.
That's just about it for today's episode, but if you'd like to see more, then please give the like button a little click, or even better, share it with a mate. The next episode will be coming soon, so keep an eye on my LinkedIn and Twitter for more info. Until then, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.